Well, hello. Welcome to Man 4781, Sustainable Strategic Planning. And this is going to be an introduction to the course. This should be one of the last courses that you take before capstone, this and Man 4783. If you are taking this as one of your first couple of courses, you might want to reconsider it because we assume that you already know much of the background sustainability information, and we are adding on some of the sustainable strategic planning tools on top of that. This is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to cover a little bit about the course content, talk about the texts, what my learning philosophy is, some of the different kinds of assignments, the e-portfolio assignments and the in-class activities, and then finally a little bit on grading. Now, our goal in this course and the next course, if you're taking it, is training professionals in sustainability. To do that in this course, we take a look, first of all, is what does it take to be a sustainable leader? What kind of internal strategies should you be implementing so that your organization is more sustainable? What are the external environmental factors, business environment factors, that can affect the success of your sustainable initiatives? How do you do statistical analysis on the survey data that you may be gathering for your strategic plan? How do you implement sustainable change? How do you market your green initiatives? How do you implement your sustainable strategic plan? And finally, how do you implement some continuous improvement? Now, for the sustainability management program only, I'm just going to cover this very briefly because not everybody is going to take that course. But if you're taking that course in Mod 2, it kind of follows on from this. And we're going to look at all different kinds of audits, budgets, reporting, process audits, baseline audits, product, support, risk, and sustainable improvements. Well, there is a fair amount of reading for this course, but I think it's eminently doable. There is, first of all, a new textbook, brand new, just came out in 2023. It's called Sustainable Management, A Complete Guide for Faculty and Students. It's a very unique book, very interesting, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. The good news is that for those of you who are going on to the next course, that is Man 4783, which is all of you who are in the Sustainability Management Program, and I hope you all have enrolled in it. It is the same textbook for both courses. In addition to the textbook, there are weekly PDFs and video tutorials that will help you prepare for the classes on Thursday evenings and for the e-portfolios, the first of which is due Wednesday. In addition to all of those, there is a folder of supplemental materials each week that is an extensive collection of management tools and sustainability tools and theoretical background. For those of you in the Sustainability Management Program, I think you should download all of these because I think you will find them very useful in capstone. For those of you who are in the Management and Organizational Program in the Sustainability track, I still recommend that you download them because I think you will find them useful as part of your sustainability library. A little bit on my personal learning style. Now, I happen to have a doctorate in curriculum and instruction, so I care a lot about you learning the material. And so you will notice that if you go to a class that is pure lecture, you are probably only going to remember 5% of that, and that is on the top of this slide. Lecture recall is, research shows, is 5%. And then it goes all the way up to the bottom. But we try to have a little bit of all of these things in there. I really don't do a whole lot of lecturing. I will talk for about 10 minutes and then I will break you up into teams and you'll actually do some of the work. Now that's why it's so important to do the reading in advance, the textbook readings and the supplemental materials, so that you can do the online assignments as well as prepare for in class. Then there are how-to videos that will help you learn the material as well. You'll have a chance to see some demonstrations of the various tools, both in the videos, but also you'll be watching presentations that I do, that other students do, that show how to use various tools, and you'll find out that you will be doing those presentations as well. Now, we have a lot of in-class teamwork, a little bit outside of class, but a lot of it in class, and that will be your opportunity to discuss the different tools and strategies, and which will help you learn more and retain more. The majority of what we're going to be doing will fall into the projects and the e-portfolio, which I'll go into in a minute. These are an opportunity for you to actually practice with the various tools. I had a student about a year ago that said, well, this is kind of like a workshop. Well, yes, I want you to practice the tools and I want you to practice them in a setting where I can also give you feedback, since I've been doing them for years. And so I hope to be able to give you lots of practice in class, and then you'll also have practice with some of the online activities. And then finally, you also will get a chance to teach yourself by giving presentations and workshops, which are part of what you're doing in this. And the best way of learning and retaining material is actually to have to teach it. And so we are going to do that as well. A little bit more about the course activities in developing the sustainable strategic plans. What we do is teach you some of the leadership tools, some of the internal structures that are more sustainable, more philosophically sustainable, and some of the HR strategies, how to develop and conduct a survey, and then how to analyze it, how to develop a sustainable change management plan, how to develop a green marketing campaign, how to implement your sustainability plan, and then finally how to set it up so that you are continuously improving in the area of sustainability. Now, in all of these, we use all kinds of different helps and different tools that you can use. We use Word templates, PowerPoint animation, PowerPoint design, Excel. And if you aren't comfortable or familiar with all of these things, by the end of this course and the next course, you will be very good at it. By the time you finish, if you're taking the sustainability capstone, by the time you finish with that, you will be an expert in many of these things. We're also going to use a lot of online coordination and diagram tools, survey development tools, and we're going to learn how to use social media and website templates and newsletter templates. And finally, we're going to learn how to use the e-portfolio tool that is embedded in my courses. And all of these things in order to do all of the course activities. This course is very much a project-oriented course. You will have several projects over 8 weeks. The first is the individual portfolio. It's a series of blogs that are going to be on a sustainable business or nonprofit. The goal is to write professional, publishable blogs. The initial evaluation will be a peer review, and your final assessment will be an e-portfolio that will be due in week 8. For the team's assignment, you will be practicing a real-world strategic planning project. You will be communicating to the real world using multiple channels that include event planning and implementation, presentations, charts, e-newsletters, websites, social media, and training. As I mentioned, the goal is to develop a series of educational blogs on sustainable strategic planning. We will be covering 3 to 4 sustainability tools each week, and your job will be to write a how-to blog using your idea for a business or nonprofit as an example. This is what you'll be doing each week, and the initial blogs are due Wednesdays. You'll be using an educational blog format that includes text plus images. It's usually 1,000 to 1,500 words. It will give an explanation of the sustainable tools, which includes background and or some how-to. You will use an example using your choice of business and nonprofit, and then have a conclusion to the blog. Any blogs that are scored with full points may be uploaded to a real-world blog site that we have available. The learning community feedback is due Sundays, which will include an analysis of the posts and a connection to the theory from the readings. These will be graded on your understanding and application of theory. And the final e-portfolio is due Wednesday of week 8. You'll be creating a personal e-portfolio with all of your work that you can take with you to share with prospective employers or clients or anyone else. Just a bit more on the e-portfolio. The sample blog format, there is a sample blog format in my courses, but these are the kinds of things that you should include when you're writing a sample blog. You should have a featured image of some kind, one that's interesting, that's intriguing, that helps get people to read your blog. Then an interesting title, that is your hook to really draw them in. Use headings to help people follow the content of your blog. Use footnotes because you don't want to be accused of plagiarism. Add 1 to 3 additional images to really illustrate the tools, illustrate the examples that you're doing, and then finally you want to make sure you have a list of references that cover all of your footnotes. Some ideas for business or nonprofit. Remember, what you're doing is you're showing the reader how to develop a more sustainable small business using one of these as an example. Things like a green bed and breakfast, an organic restaurant, renewable energy business, green transportation, green retail, green construction, or sustainable fast food. If possible, you might want to find a business in your area that you can observe. It does not have to necessarily be sustainably focused. You do not have to go in and measure anything. That's what you're going to be doing in Capstone. But it might give you some ideas when you walk in. Now, remember, you also, if you choose a nonprofit, you are also writing your blogs to show the reader how to develop a sustainable nonprofit. Here are some ideas: a green museum, an environmental cleanup, homeless, poor, migrants, animal welfare, health concerns, green park management, addiction counseling, and religious organizations. All of those are possibilities for your sustainable nonprofit. And not absolutely critical, but you might try to find a similar nonprofit in your area that you can observe, or you can look at their website and see how they talk about themselves. One caveat that I have is that do not choose a protest organization, but one dedicated to performing a service. The primary reason for that is because you need to have something that needs space in order to do some of the activities, and most protest organizations don't have a separate office, or many don't, and they won't lend themselves to a lot of the activities that we're doing. So there are a lot of other options, and you can kind of take your pick. So we've talked about the work that's earlier in the week before class. That's your e-portfolio. Let's now take a look at what happens in class. This is the kind of teamwork you'll do. You're going to be developing a team strategic plan. You are going to be the green team for the College of Business. Each team will have a different area, an SDG, that you're going to focus on when creating your strategic plan. The class activities, by and large, are completed during class. They culminate in a real-world kickoff event in week 8, in which we do try to invite outside participants. Now, there are 4 communications projects that are started in class, but you'll probably have to complete them outside of class. In weeks 1 and 2, you'll be preparing a leadership briefing that you'll be giving to the Dean of the College of Business, who is one of your key stakeholders, and also to Net Impact, who is going to be hosting the event. In weeks 3 and 4, you are doing statistical analysis of survey data that you're collecting, real-world survey data from real-world people. In weeks 5 and 6, you'll be developing your marketing materials in order to invite people to your event. And so you'll have an e-newsletter, social media posts, and a website that you'll learn to develop. Then in week 7, you're developing materials for the event activities, and in week 8 is the event, which takes place over the course of about 1 hour. Now here's how the course activities are graded. There are 8 class activities that are 10 points apiece, the 4 communications projects that are 25 points apiece, the 7 individual portfolio assignments and discussions that are 10 points apiece, and 1 final individual portfolio that is 25 points, for a total number of points of 275. Again, this is just a quick preview of the course activities that you'll have in the next class. You'll be conducting a boatload of sustainability audits, different kinds of audits, different kinds of tools we'll be using. You'll learn how to use a number of different forms of sustainability software. Obviously, you're not going to become an expert in all of these, but you will at least have some exposure to them and practice with them. We're also going to use some other software, a little more in Excel, a little more in Lucidchart, and Google SketchUp for 3D modeling, and using some presentation tools like Prezi and YouTube. Finally, we'll have several assignments that will be in the same format as sections of the capstone chapters, which you can publish in the form of white papers as part of your portfolio. Here are a couple of common questions that we often get. The first is, what happens if I have to miss a class? Well, it depends on the reason. If you have a valid excuse, then there's makeup work that you can do. Now, since a lot of the in-class work is team related, what happens if someone on my team doesn't participate? Make sure that when you submit those communications projects, that the names of the participants are on the submissions, because I really don't want somebody to get credit for something that they didn't do and they didn't help and they didn't learn. So if I don't have an idea of who all participated, then people are not going to be prepared for capstone. All individual parts of the contribution are graded differentially. So you want to make sure that you identify in those communications projects what parts that each person did, so that I can see that each part was or each person participated fairly equally. So if you have other questions, do please email me. For now, I think that's it, and you have your first assignment that is due Wednesday. It's the individual ePortfolio initial post. We can answer more questions on Thursday, and I look forward to seeing you all on Thursday. We are going to have a heck of a good time. So have fun with this and enjoy the learning.